post it up onto the school counseling website if you like to review, or if you know of another parent who wants to attend. It will be put up on the school counseling website at a later date. So thank you all for attending. This is our first session of our Lunch with a Counselor series. Today we're going to be talking about creating a path for your students' career success, tips for course selection, and exploring career options. I am Steph Bates. I'm the school counseling intern working with our school counselors, mostly with the upper school students, but also with some lower school students. I am in my final year of grad school at Assumption, and where I am also the career advisor for the undergrad students there. So if you have any questions in addition for post-graduation career paths, I can also answer any questions. If you have any questions about this slideshow, please put them in the chat and we'll get to them at the end of the session. We will get started. So why is it important to explore career interests early? It's really important to first understand that no two students' paths are going to be similar. Each one takes their own time. They may change and veer off from their path as many times as they need to. Whatever the student needs, it's kind of up to them. They're the one driving their exploration and their interests. If you explore interests early, it does improve their knowledge about what options they do have. So it will make it a little bit easier once they get to either college or, training programs or whatever they choose to do after graduation. They'll have more knowledge about their options and have a better and easier decision to make. It also encourages students to work towards a goal. Once they can identify their strengths and interests and identify certain career paths that they're interested, they can create those goals to get to where they need to be in order to start into that career path. It improves your motivation, engagement in school, and just overall school performance as well. And it builds self-awareness by identifying their strengths and interests. And typically, if students have a plan for after graduation, they have better outcomes in their intended career paths. So first, we're going to talk about having some discussions to get the conversation started. So for those students who have absolutely no idea on where they want to go or what they want to start exploring, these are just some questions that you can start asking them to have them start thinking about. So you want to think about what challenges they may want to solve in life. Have they had any previous experience with solving some challenges and they really enjoyed? What would some other people say are your strengths? Now, this is sort of like a trick question. Some students have difficulty explaining their own strengths. So if you word it as what would other people say, it kind of helps them avoid that. What are some activity or places that make you feel valid and why? Describe a time when you felt successful. And what is your favorite class or school activity? Now, you may already think you know the answer, but you may be surprised at what your student will tell you. And then you can start doing some this or that questions, things like, do you work best in groups or individually? Do you like creating things and working with your hands? Would you rather have your day be kind of the same every day? Do you like some variety? And things like that. Now, after your student starts thinking about those questions and has some answers, or even if they kind of know the general path they want to choose, you can start talking about creating a plan and setting some goals. So you can talk about like, how long are you willing to go to college or some other type of training programs? Some students may have a goal in mind, not realizing that they have to go get their master's program in order to enter the workforce. When thinking of the future, are there any skills that you would like to further develop? And what can you do to make this happen? So now we're helping them think of long-term goals or short-term goals and helping them through the situation. And then what reminders or supports might help you stick with your goals in the future. And then some examples right there. This is just to make sure that this is a positive experience. You really want to make sure that your student is the one that's driving this goal setting plan, so you can find the ways that you can help them out and support them best. And just always remember that your plans or your goals, they're always going to change. So if they all of a sudden come home and say, never mind, I don't want to be an engineer, I actually want to be a doctor, well, there's a new set of goals we have to talk about then. After this conversation, your student may still have no idea what path they want to choose, or they have a wide variety of different paths they want. I always suggest taking a career assessment. And here are some of the career assessments we suggest taking. There's Naviance, the O-Net Interest Profiler, and 16 Personalities Test. For Naviance, right now, only students in grades 11 and 12 have access to Naviance, but soon our 9th and 10th graders will also have access. That's coming up very shortly. And in Naviance, there are 2 career different types of assessments, along with some other personality assessments. There's the Career Cluster Finder and the Career Interest Profile. For the Cluster Finder, it's 100 like or dislike questions where it'll come up with either a subject or a different topic. So it might come up with something like, working outside, dislike or like. Working with animals, dislike or dislike. So it's a very quick 100 questions, takes about 5 minutes. Whereas the interest profile does take a little bit longer, where you have to do a rating scale. It takes about 15 minutes, but with each answer or each test that you do, it will create different pathways and different options that may be of interest based upon your answers. And from there, it will tell you things about specific jobs, related majors, as well as the employment outlook and different colleges that you can attend to go to those majors. With the O-Net Interest Profile, this is one that you can just search on Google. It's free to everyone. It is very similar to the interest profile, where it's a dislike and dislike rating scale. The results are given by the amount of training and school required after high school. So your student can choose, very little training, or they can choose a lot of training. So that would be probably a doctorate degree, and it would give you different career options based on your answers and the amount of training that you're interested in. And then for the 16 Personalities Test, I think this one would be great for younger students. It just identifies the strengths and weaknesses, and then also gives you some potential career paths. It's a very common personality test. Many students have probably already taken it. It would be after you take it, you get the 4 letters, such as like INFP or something like that. Explains a little bit more information. This is just the Naviance website. I just wanted to show everyone where the career finders would be. So when your student enters the Naviance website, you're going to click on the Self-Discovery tab up top, and it comes up with a long list of different personality tests, learning types, and your career cluster and your interest profile are going to be on the bottom. So what are some of my child's options to start exploring careers in the classroom? So most of these electives are going to be for 11th and 10th graders, but there are some options for 9th and 10th as well. I think it provides a better opportunity for the 9th and 10th graders to kind of start exploring what they're interested in, so that way they have a better idea of what they want. Some of these classes do require a prerequisite or a teacher referral. So I would definitely check the AMSO website for more information and also a brief summary of what the class is. Some of these classes would be more specific to different career paths, or they're more generalized for others, and just kind of exploring what you're interested in. It gives them some background information to see if they're actually interested in things like, meteorology, anatomy, robotics, things like that. And also just a note, some of these classes, particularly in the history section, are only offered every other year. So again, that information is in the AMSA curriculum plan. So check that for more information. How can my student explore outside of school? So there's a wide variety of things that you can help your student get to and promote. Of course, there's the clubs and after-school activities, things like the Climate Change Committee, drama if they're interested in theater, Model UN, Model Trial, the Quill if they're interested in journalism and writing. Community service opportunities are also available. If maybe your student is interested in the helping professions, they can always volunteer as a tutor, a teacher, somewhere in the hospital to gain some medical experience and kind of get in that setting. There are summer jobs, and any job will help your student kind of explore their interests and find their strengths. Every summer job has an opportunity to gain skills, whether that be interpersonal skills, time management skills, organizational skills, all skills needed for success in school as well as in the workforce. There are some summer internships and programs and courses that are available for your student to kind of figure out what path they want to take. For a number of options of student courses that is on the AMSA School Counseling website, so check that out. You can do some informational interviews, whether those are kind of informal or formal, and some observations. Definitely talk to your family and friends about that information. If, let's say, you have a family friend who is a doctor and your student is also interested in becoming a nurse or a doctor or somewhere in the medical field, maybe set a time for them to talk about, what do they do and their everyday activities, how did they get there, what advice would you give them, things of that nature. And then, of course, everyone loves watching YouTube videos. So you can find a YouTube video to kind of see what each job does. There's a lot of trade videos online that you can look at. And again, if your student has access to Naviance, there's a really great section called the Road Trip Navigation Interview, where it goes in a lot of what I would consider not the typical jobs. So if your student is interested in something not typical, it's a really great place to kind of look at what the options are and kind of create a wider net for your student. And then for post-graduation, there's just some things you want to keep in mind while planning. Definitely how much schooling or training is required. So some careers require 6 or more years of additional education, while others can do a 6-month to a year certification program. You want to think of, you have to get a master's or a doctorate just to enter the workforce. You want to also consider the cost of all this education versus the potential income. You also want to think of what are the best related majors and training programs. Some careers you can have multiple different majors to enter, while some are more specific, particularly in the arts field. I feel like are more specific. And then which college or training program is the best fit? So we all know there's a wide range of colleges and training programs available, but for those more specialized majors, you want to find the college that has those programs and maybe some professors who specialize in that specific type that they're looking for, or look a little bit more information about that. And then some students who have gone through all of this and they still are not sure, and it's time to their graduation and they're going on to the next thing and they're not sure what they still want to do. There are career development services in almost all of the colleges and training programs, so they can help assist your student as well for after graduation. So I just wanted to put this up to kind of show you that there's a lot of different options in different fields, and start considering all those options. So let's say you have a student who's interested in physical therapy. So a physical therapist, you're going to have to get your bachelor's degree plus a 3 to 4 year doctoral degree. Your income will be about $91,000 a year, and then the average for all of that would be $165,000, and that's just for in-state tuition. Versus a physical therapist, you can do a 2-year program at a community college. I believe Wachusett Community College has a physical therapy assistant program. Their income is a little bit less, $52,000, but the average cost is considerably less. So if you have a student who, maybe their strength isn't in academics, or they're a little burnt out from school and they're not sure if they want to do that 7 to 8 year commitment of physical therapy, a physical therapist assistant would be a great option to at least start off as. And if they really like it, maybe they can continue on to their doctoral program. So if you have any questions about exploring your students' strengths, their interests, or their career paths, you can contact their school counselor. We have changed our school counselor to last name caseload. So whatever your last name is associated, that would be your counselor. And thank you for attending.